I'm Amit Sengupta, and this is a video on geography brought to you by Edupedia World. In this video, we're going to read about population. So population falls under the discipline human geography, which is another subdivision of geography as a broad subject. Now the question is, why do we need to understand human beings? Well, it is the human being who has utilized the natural resources and have created the social and cultural environment. So all the things that you see around us are created by human beings. Therefore, we can say that our entire environment has been created by human beings. Therefore, it is very important to understand human beings, because ultimately it's the people who are important to develop the economy and society. Here is a brief content what we will be reading in this video. So mostly the topics in this video are related to India's population. So we're going to read about a lot about its distribution, density, its change, and why is it growing. And then we will read about some of the processes of population growth. Then what are the other components associated with population. And finally, we will end this video by reading about some of the measures to control population. So with no further ado, let's begin. So the first topic is population size and distribution. So what is the meaning of population size and distribution? Well, it basically means the pattern of where people live. Or in other words, if I have to say, how are the people spread in a particular place? That is what is known as population distribution. Now always remember, population distribution is always uneven, meaning they are not same. Though the population of two countries can be same, but their distribution will be totally different. The easy way to understand is that just look at the 29 states of our country. The distribution of population is so different in each and every state. Somewhere we have more people, somewhere we have less people. Somewhere the females are higher, somewhere the males are higher. Somewhere the youngsters are more, or somewhere the elder people are more. So this is how the population is distributed. Now places which are sparsely populated, meaning very less people stay there, now that place will have less people. And then places which are densely populated, that will contain more people. And the reasons are both natural as well as human. I mean, the places which are sparsely populated, such as North and South Pole, here the temperature is extremely cold. And people don't want to live in a harsh climate, they need a pleasant climate. Similarly, there are places in central part of equator. The places I'm talking about are South America or the central part of Africa. Or for that matter, our own Andaman and Nicobar Island. Since all of these region falls in the equator, and equator is the place where there is ample of sunshine because the sun rays fall directly on earth at the equator. So because of that, this place is very hot and humid, and during monsoon they receive heavy rainfall, and due to such extreme harsh climate, there are not many people who stay over there. Similarly, on the opposite, the places which are densely populated, meaning where a lot of people stays, these places are usually located near river valleys. In India, you will find such places near the river valley of Indus and Ganga. And the reason it's river valleys is because the region around rivers are usually fertile. I mean, the soil over there is fertile because of the running of river. River renews the soil bed every time they flow. And where there is fertile soil, you will have a lot of irrigational and agricultural activities going on. And India is an agrarian country, therefore a lot of people engage in agricultural activity, making these places densely populated. Let's move on to the next topic, population density. Now population density is a measurement of the number of people in an area. Each unit of land has limited capacity to support people living on it. Hence, it is necessary to understand the ratio between the number of people to the size of land. Density of population is equal to population divided by area. It is always denoted in square kilometer, and the map below is a map that illustrates population density. The darker the color, the greater the population density. So if you look at the map, it shows that the world population distribution is uneven. Some areas have high population density, while others have low population density. Areas of high population density tend to be located between 20° and 60° north. And this region is also known as temperate zone, which is above the Tropic of Cancer. The temperature in these regions are generally moderate rather than extremely hot or cold, and the changes between summer and winter are also usually moderate. And that's why some of the best holiday destinations in the world are located in this region. I hope you are now well aware of what is population density and how to calculate that. We now move on to the next topic, factors affecting the population density. In the previous slide, we understood what is population density. Therefore, it is now time to understand what are the factors that leads to the population density. So these factors are both human and natural. In the below table, we can understand and read about what are those physical as well as human factors. So when we say natural factor, it is nothing but physical factor, and by physical factor we mean the physiographic division of Earth. For example, plains, mountain, plateau, desert, climate, water. Hence these physical factors are something that is beyond humans' reach. Therefore we do not have any control over it whatsoever. So physical factor plays an important role. For example, it is densely populated in the plain region than a hilly or a mountainous terrain. And the reason behind that is because in a plain land, agricultural activities can be supported. And agricultural activities give a lot of employment to the people. Therefore, automatically people would prefer living in a plain area. Whereas in a mountainous region, it is very difficult to grow crops. And not just crop, it is very difficult to create any sort of industry because of the rough terrain. And industries give huge amount of employment. Hence, where there is no employment, it is very difficult for the people to generate a living. And if you look at the high population density regions of temperate zone, which is above the Tropic of Cancer, there you will find enough of rain and heat to grow crops. So you see, climate is also very favorable. But at low density areas of tropical region, which is at the middle of equator, I'm talking about places like South America, Central Africa, here the temperature is extreme. It's very hot and humid. Therefore, it is very difficult to grow anything. And that is the reason very few people tend to live in such harsh conditions. And on the other hand, some of the human factors are political, social, and economic. So countries that have high density of population, there the government is stable. And the reason they are stable is because they're the working lot, or the population that works or generates income that contributes towards nation's development. That is a very nice smooth cycle. I mean, it does have problem, but it is not as big as the places which have low density of population. So we are mostly talking about all the developed and developing countries. And usually these countries have very high GDP. And that is all because of high density, which means more population. And on the other hand, places or countries which have low population density, there the government is usually unstable. Now we are talking about countries like Afghanistan, Iraq. Here the population is as it is very low. Hence, there is not enough law and order or any sort of a government policy that is good enough to hold the entire nation together. Now just try to understand this political, social and economic factors in a circular manner. There is a connection to it. Because if there are no job opportunities, meaning unemployment, then it will be difficult for people to generate revenue. And if there is no revenue, it cannot be added to the economic condition of a nation. And then there will be no infrastructure. And if there are no infrastructure, then the social aspect of human being is lost. So I hope you are understanding the connection. So these are all the factors that are affecting the population density. From population density, we now move on to the topic, process of population change. The world's population is growing very rapidly, and currently if you see, the population on Earth is more than 7 billion. Of course, it has taken over centuries to grow this big. But what is more interesting is that it is only during the last few hundred years that population has increased at an alarming rate. If you look at this picture in the slide, from the 18th century, population took a massive boost. This kind of rapid growth in population has been called as population explosion. And if you notice, from past 200 years, population has kept on doubling. And the reasons are because of industrial revolution, transportation, sanitation and medical advancement, biotechnology, information and computers, and then technological revolution. Because of all these processes, the entire population increased. It improved people's social condition, standard of living, mortality rate increased, death rate decreased. So all these reasons are very important to remember. Technological advancement has played a major role in the increase of population. And again, there is a great variation among regions in doubling their population. It's usually the developed countries that are taking more time to double their population as compared to developing countries. So most of the population growth is taking place in the developing world. And in the next slide, we will read about what makes a population increase or decrease. So in this slide, we will read about what are the main components of population. So the first one is birth rate. So the major reason of population changes, whether it is an individual country or for the whole world, it is the change in birth and death rates. The birth rate is the number of live babies born in a year for every 1000 people in the total population. So the formula to that is you just have to find out the birth rate and divide it by 1000. So for example purpose, if we get the data that there are 62 babies born in this year, so you just have to divide it by 62 by 1000. That will give you 0.062%, which is the birth rate of that particular place. And the second component is death rate. It is the number of people dying per 1000 people. Again, if you want to find out the death rate of a particular place, you just take the number of people who have died and you divide it by 1000, which is, for an example's sake, 79 by 1000, that is equal to 0.079%. This is the death rate of a particular place. Now this line is very important, and just remember this. Whenever birth rates are higher than the death rates, the population of an area will increase. And I don't think it is very difficult to remember this. It's plain and simple. And the third major component of population change apart from birth rate and death rate is migration. Now what is the meaning of migration? It is the movement of people from one place to another. Just like how you had to move from one school to another, you needed a migration certificate which keeps a track that how many people have moved from college to college. Similarly, when it comes to population, it is the movement of people from one place to another, which is called as migration. Now suppose a person moves from place A. Now that place A becomes his place of origin, and the moment that person moves from place A to place B, the place B becomes his place of destination. So this is all you need to remember about the components of population. And once you have the data regarding all of these, then it's very easy to find out whether a particular population is increasing or decreasing over a period of time. And the last topic of this video is measures to control population. Now we need to understand that the natural resources are limited. So if the number of people would increase faster, then the food supply will get over. And any further increase would directly result in a population crash. This will cause famine, disease, and war. So for the sustainability of our resources, that is, if we want the existing resources to be allocated efficiently, therefore we need to control the rapid population increase. And that is where the government of a particular country comes up with a policy known as population control measures. So currently in India, there are only 3 types of measures that have been used to control the population. The first one is family planning. So it is the spacing or preventing the birth of children. So it is mostly done by educational and training based, spreading awareness through public media and making the population aware of how to conduct family planning. So this is one of the initiatives that was started by the Indian government. And the second measure is availability of contraceptives. Now contraception is a medical method to control the birth rate. Usually low female literacy levels and the lack of widespread availability of birth control methods are hampering this measure. So contraceptive methods play an important role in controlling the population. So it is one of the important services provided under the name family planning programs. And the last measure is tax disincentives for large families. By the name you can figure out that it has something to do with monetary tax benefit. So what happens is, if there is a large family, there are a certain amount of extra tax which are imposed if they have more children. It is just one of the methods to control the population. Another good example would be there are many corporate companies which only allow maternity leaves for their first 2 pregnancies. So in the third one you will not be given the paid leave. So like this, there are a few policies in place to control the population. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare is the government unit in India which is responsible for formulating and executing family planning related government plans. Many states in India have implemented these policies, and their fertility rate has decreased drastically in the last 2 decades. However, there are few states which are still lagging behind in terms of implementing these initiatives. We are talking about states like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. These places have very high fertility rate compared to other states. So with this, we have come to an end of this topic as well as this video. I hope you have now understood about the population, its effect, measure, its components, and I also hope that you have found this video informative. So as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.